So we have seen the Palme d'Or winning film about a shape called the square. Not the rectangle or the circle or the oblong.
Now, I was about as confused by that opening as most people are going to be by this movie because it is a very abstract deconstruction. It's actually pretty much a satire focusing on, I guess, society as a whole, filtered through the lens of a character played by Claes Bang. I don't know how to say it. That's his name.
Claes Bang.
He is the curator of a Swedish art museum. And over the course of the film, we have a series of kind of escalatingly bizarre events. And he is kind of subject or he's involved in all of these kind of things. And this film kind of acts as a deconstruction of kind of the world that we live in today, how technology affects it, how there's different kind of social and economic levels and how they interact and interweave. And it kind of focuses on, I think, mainly the contradictions of society today and what we believe in, what we value, and then what we actually do.
Now, who else have we got in this cast? We have Elizabeth Moss. Dominic West. And a guy called Terry Notary. It looks like Terry Notary.
Terry. What?
Shut up.
But in all seriousness, Terry Notary gives possibly, arguably, one of the greatest supporting roles of the year. He pops up.
He really pops up.
He does pop up, and he is absolutely fantastic. He's a scene stealer. And
I don't want to say too much about the scene, but I guess it's the kind of scene that this movie's kind of become. I mean, there's a couple of scenes in this movie this movie's kind of become notorious for. But yeah, this guy is involved in one of them. I don't want to say too much else other than the fact that he plays I guess he's playing a chimpanzee. And he really commits to like War of the Planet of the Apes degree, but minus the CGI. He's just a person. All I'm gonna say is this movie is one of those ones. It's a very art house type film. It is entertaining if you're into that type of thing. It is going to require you to think, to piece together the kind of ideas and concepts here. And while a lot of them are kind of quite clear, quite easy to grapple with, the film as a whole, on a little bit of thought you can put together, there are a lot of the ideas in this film that don't actually link up or aren't given enough power or kind of resolution to them.
Now, what I really admired about this film and what I really enjoyed is the fact that it kept you thinking the entire time, both about your own world and your own life, but also the world of the film, which is obviously our own world.
But a very kind of differently lensed one. It's not exactly the world as we see it.
100%. Plus, it's also Sweden, and Sweden is a very kind of a well-formed society.
It's
but also
pretty advanced compared to Australia.
It's pretty advanced compared to a lot of countries pretty much throughout the world. So it was a really great location, I suppose, for this film and for this story to be told. But also, I think just this film's social and political commentary on kind of the balance of power in society between people who are living in a low socioeconomic situation and people in a higher socioeconomic situation, and their indifferences and their differences and just how they can communicate with one another. Plus also this film kind of does a full circle. It really looks at society as a whole, but also how we raise our children into society. And it was a really, I don't know, it was an exciting, nice film. Nice one, Jay.
In terms of the construction of this movie definitely has some of the funniest scenes I think I've seen in any movie this year. Again, they're not really going to work for everyone, but I think it's quite often how the jokes are structured. A lot of them are really visually told. A lot of the scenes in this movie have the camera kind of placed down in just a single shot. It'll stay there for the entire time, but it was very well thought out in terms of the fact that that frame, no matter how the elements within it change, will continue to create new and exciting things. Again, with a lot of this film being set inside a modern art museum, and we know how absolutely whack some of those modern art installations can be, it finds really interesting ways to stage scenes. For instance, there's a really interesting argument scene between our main character and Elizabeth Moss's character, and it's set It's set right next to this kind of stack of chairs that every like 5 seconds shakes and makes this horrible creaking sound. And the argument scene goes for about like 5 minutes or so, and you're there with this sound in the background the entire time, making the situation it just adds this kind of spin to it where we can't take real world interactions seriously, and that allows us to kind of deconstruct them and kind of focus on what the creators of this film are trying to show us in each of those scenes. The film has a really interesting original score as well that's composed of mainly kind of vocals, which I thought was really, really interesting, kind of humming and kind of like all these kind of weird vocal
like
sounds.
A beep, bop,
yeah,
beep,
that type of thing, and it's really
weird. It's weird, but it works.
Thanks for that, R2. And that kind of sound is used in scenes of like high tension and high drama as well, which adds to that kind of abstract feeling of the entire movie. The characters are kind of easy to get involved with, particularly the main character. We do grow to care about him. But this movie overall, I feel like I got most of the ideas from the first viewing. We talked about it for about 15 minutes afterwards, and I was like, that's about as much as I've lived in this world. I was in the movie while it was happening. I thoroughly was engaged by the experience, and yet the kind of ideas, these big overarching ideas that it's kind of working with, haven't really stuck with me afterwards. And that's not because they handled poorly, they're just not handled, I guess, as powerfully as they could have been. So if I'm going to score this movie, I'm going to give this one a 7.8 out of 10.
And I think for me, I'm going to give this one an 8.2. I think I definitely really enjoyed the ideas it presented and just got you thinking the entire time. It's a great art house film, and if you get the chance, it's well worth checking out.
So that was our review of The Square. Have you seen it yet?
Did you like it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you did.
Crave more Banter.
If so, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel down there somewhere.
And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, all at Breaking Banter.